or also called a sticky vinyl. I love using them because they're so easy to use, and you rarely ever have seepage or leakage underneath. Now, on barn board, you have to be a little more careful because you can get some leakage under there if you aren't careful. And one of the things that you need to do to ensure that you don't is to use a dry brush. Don't wet it with any water, and less coat is better than more. So if you are a heavy painter, you want to do 2 to 3 light coats and let it dry in between each coat rather than put one heavy coat on. Okay, Melissa, thanks so much. I changed tripods. I don't know why that would make a difference, but apparently it does. So, you know, thanks for letting me know that I'm good this time. It shouldn't be this difficult. This isn't my first rodeo, but you sure think it would be. Okay, I was saying earlier today, I've been doing accounting all week long, and you know, you have to be left brain to do accounting, and you have to be right brain to be creative, and I have difficulty switching sides of my brain. And when I saw a piece this morning posted on Facebook with this saying on it, I love this saying, and I just thought, oh, I would love to make a sign. I have other projects that I should be doing today, but I just needed to be creative again. So what I've done is, this is an adhesive vinyl, and now I'm just burnishing around all of these little edges so that it will adhere as well as possible. This is rough barnwood. I got this board. It's a pretty cool board. It measures 16 by 20, and I got it at Walmart. And it was already painted this white color, whitish grayish color, so I didn't have to do any prep on it. And then I made the stencil, and by the way, this stencil is up on my website if you'd like to purchase it. If you need it made to a custom size, I can do that for you as well. Just give me your dimensions, and you can either pick it up from me, or I can mail it to you, whatever works out best for you. And you know, if you've got other sayings or like Bible verses or anything like that that you would like to have made for doing signs, let me know. I'd be happy to do it for you. Okay, so I just want to make sure that I've got this all down really well. Say hi and let me know if you've signed in. Okay. Now I'm going to use Caviar. That's Dixie Belle's black. You saw me using that last week on the chairs that I was putting the hemp oil on, and boy, did they turn out nice. I still have several more pieces that I need to get the oil on. But I sure love using that hemp oil on the Caviar black. Okay, I'm just going to use it right out of the lid, and no water on the brush. So we'll start up here. Actually, I'm going to start down here so I don't end up with my hand in it. there's quite a bit of distressing in this board. So as I'm doing this, I'm finding that I need to be going with the grain of the wood to get the paint down inside there. Let me know if you have any questions while I'm doing this. Hi, Mary, nice to see you. Well, Mary, you'll be able to share it at the end. You can't share it until I post it live, but I would really appreciate it if you do that. Mary was taking classes last weekend at, I think it was called Art Creation. It was down at the Civic Center, and there were all kinds of wholesalers and retailers down there teaching classes. She showed me some of the things that she was doing, and actually my friend Pamela and I went down there last week to meet with ReDesign by Prima. They were there also, and there were some amazing things down there to see. And Mary also works and has a booth at the Brass Armadillo where I am. So some of the transfers that I'm going to be using on this are some that I have scraps left over from, and some that I just thought would be perfect for this kind of design. And so you can look in your stash and see what pieces you have. Before I start putting transfers on, I'll show you some of the designs that I did choose from that I think lend themselves really well to this. You know, if you did something like this with the same saying, or if you took your favorite Bible verse and did something with that, what a wonderful gift this would be for somebody's birthday or Mother's Day. And you can see that it's relatively easy and quick to get done. And I am not the fastest painter. I watch some of these brand ambassadors, and man, they paint lickety-split, and I am not a fast painter. And that's okay, because I do it because I want to relax. I'm not in any big hurry, and I'm kind of that way about everything. I'm kind of more the slow, methodical kind of personality, not the frantic, let's get it all done in 10 minutes personality. How do you guys do? Are you fast and furious, or are you slow and steady? Now typically, painting this on, I would be going, you know, vertical this way, but because the grain is so deep that I really feel like I have to go the other way. So I'm hoping, crossing my fingers, that I don't have much seepage. If I do, I can always take a fine brush and go back and straighten it out. This is supposed to be kind of like typesetting font, and you know, they kind of had a little blotty look to them, especially in the old days. We've gotten so far away from typewriters. They are definitely a thing of the past. We have whole generations now that don't even know what typewriters are. Hard to believe. Need a paper towel. Does anybody have any questions? Melissa, you're kind of in between. Melissa, what kind of project are you working on now? You're working on a welcome sign. I'm going to be teaching another class soon, doing the big board welcome sign that you put on your front porch. I taught it last year. I taught several versions of it last year. I had one that was your welcome sign that you can leave up all year round. And then I taught a class on doing the flag on the sign, which was nice because you can paint it on the back of your welcome sign, and then you don't have to store anything. You can just flip your board around as you change your message, and you can leave that flag one out for a long time from, what do we have? We have Memorial Day and 4th of July and Flag Day, and there's a whole bunch of them that all run in together there. So you can leave your flag board porch sign out for a long time. And that's a really nice thing to be able to display. So I am going to be posting that class again because that's a really popular class. And I do it on really, it's like 1.5 inch board, I think. It's good heavy board. So even with our big monsoon winds, it's not going to blow off your front porch or fall over. Okay, now remember I said thin coats, multiple thin coats are better than rushing it along and putting on too heavy a coat. And I have to say that this is a little bit tricky because the grain of this wood is really deep. And so I kind of want, since I'm on video, I kind of want to speed things up, but you know, I'll be sorry if I do. And so would you. So let me show you the right way to do it. If you're watching, say hello. As I load my brush, if I feel like I have too much paint on it, I just offload it off to the side of the stencil. And you can just go back and re-dip into that paint that you've offloaded over there too. I do want to get this whole stencil painted and removed. I don't know if we'll stay on long enough to get the whole thing with all the transfers on, but I'll get enough of it on to give you the idea of how to finish it. And then when I finish it, I'll post a picture of it for you. You could do this kind of project on any kind of wood. If you've got some old wood laying around, that would work. You know, all the craft stores, Hobby Lobby and Joann's and Michael's, they all have finished wood that's already ready for you to paint on and do your transfers on. And I had some of those pieces out there, but I was kind of looking for a piece that was a bigger piece because I really wanted this verse to stand out and be the focal of it. And I just felt like a 12 by 12 was too small for what I wanted. But you know, I have a hard time finding them now, but I used to be able to get kitchen cabinet doors at the Habitat, at the Rehab, Restore Rehabitat, whatever they call it. And they were really inexpensive. And then my rehab store has stopped accepting just the cabinet doors. If they accidentally break a door off when they're moving stuff around, then they'll hold on to it. But I was really disappointed that they stopped having those available because they're getting harder to find. And I was up in Cottonwood a few months ago and stopped in the rehab store there, and they had a few cabinet doors, so I picked those up. So, you know, if you guys are, I know some of you are in different parts of the country, and if you are, check out your rehab stores and see if they have cabinet doors, because they make over, they're perfect for pictures and picture frames, and you know, and they're inexpensive, and you're recycling, and I think they fit in today's decor, you know, upcycle as they say. What kind of projects are you guys upcycling? What do you guys watch for when you go to the secondhand stores and places, thrift stores and the Goodwills? What kind of pieces are you always keeping your eye out for? Another thing that's gotten really hard to find, at least for me, are the windows and the window frames. I guess because they're popular and everybody is snatching them up, or if somebody actually has them, they want an arm and a leg for them, and I'm like, no, I'm not spending $40 on something that I still have to fix up and paint. That isn't going to happen. I think I live in the wrong part of the country for those kind of things. We're city folk. Although I was born in Wichita, Kansas, and lived on the farm with my grandparents for a number of years until we moved away when I was 5. And I've always said, you can take the girl off the farm, you just can't take the farm out of the girl. And there's a lot of truth to that. This is kind of like watching paint dry. Like literally. We're going to get to the fun, exciting part in just a minute. Bear with me. I am going to go over and give this a second coat, but it won't take as long because I can just see little spots in there. But if you notice, anytime you're looking at something that's been type printed with a typewriter, the ink isn't always the same, what do I want to say? Depth, because it depends on, you know, how you strike that key, with how much pressure and force you hit that key, how dark an imprint you get when you're typing. So when you look at a piece of paper that has been typed, it's not always uniform in color. And I kind of have a feeling that when I pull this stencil off of here, we're going to have that effect. Now, if you were painting on a piece of wood that doesn't have the barn texture in it, you'll probably have a more uniform color to it. But I think if this isn't exactly uniform, that'll just be a bonus enhancement on this piece. Okay, so let's quickly go back over the second coat really quick, and then we'll be ready to pull this off. And you can pull these off while your paint is still damp. I've let them dry, but they come off well. One of the nice things about this caviar is it is such a rich, deep black color. It's just, you know, everybody expects black to be black, but this is just like, I don't know, it's kind of like off into the abyss black. It's really, really a deep, dark black. It's beautiful. All of the Dixie Belle paints are really dense in color, and a little bit goes a long ways with them. And if you didn't know it, you can buy Dixie Belle paint, all the colors, off of my website. I also have a shop location in Phoenix on 28th Drive. It's close to the I-17, and that's at the Brass Armadillo. And I'm at booth number 19, and they are open from 9 to 9, 7 days a week, so that's pretty convenient for your shopping. And I do try to keep that booth fully stocked at all times. And if you have a special question or special needs, just call me or text me and let me know, or send me a message, because I can always meet you down there. I don't keep a lot of the transfers at that location. I have a few of them, but I keep most of those here locally. Right now, I'm still looking for another location in the Surprise or West Valley area. If anybody knows of any booth kind of locations, is what I'm looking for, is another booth. Or if you've got a favorite shop that allows vendors in. I'd be interested in that kind of a situation. But you can place your orders online. You can place your orders to have them shipped to you. I have really, really reasonable shipping. And you can also place an order to pick up. You can always place your order and then stop by and pick it up, and then you aren't paying any shipping. And I have a lot of things on my website that aren't actually available in the booth. Like these, like this stencil is not at this time available in the booth. I might consider putting them in the booth, although I'm not sure if I hang them up in the booth, people will actually know what they're used for. We'll see. Also, I should mention that I've got a really big event coming up in March, and that is with Tracy Bellion of Tracy's Fancy. She's one of the really talented ambassadors for Dixie Belle, and she lives in San Antonio, Texas, and she's coming to Arizona on March 21st and 22nd. And we will have a 2-day seminar. There will also be a reception, a meet and greet reception on Friday night so that you can all meet each other and meet Tracy and see what project we're going to work on. And how that class is going to be run is you bring your project. It needs to be something that you can carry in and easily carry out, such as a nightstand or like a tall jewelry armoire chest. Not a big chest, but one for jewelry. Something that doesn't take up a lot of space. And Tracy will be demoing on a large armoire, and she'll demo in the morning. We'll break for lunch, and there's going to be a lovely catered lunch that you can opt into. And then we will resume in the afternoon, but Tracy will be working with each one of you on an individual basis and helping you work on your own projects and apply the skills and what you learn from the morning part. And then she'll repeat that same thing on Sunday. She'll finish her piece. You guys will finish your pieces. We'll have an auction at the end of the day for to auction off Tracy's finished piece. So that'll be really cool because she sells her furniture for big bucks, people, big bucks. And so that'll be really fun. And in the cost of the class, it includes all your materials. You just need to bring your piece that you want to work on and your own brushes, but it will include all of your paints. And we're going to be using, I think there were 6 colors of paint and a transfer, and that is included in the cost of your paint, or in the cost of your class. So if any of you are thinking that this is a pretty pricey class, when you think about that much paint is being provided and transfers for your project, and that you have the expertise of someone like Tracy teaching you, you are really getting value for your money, that's for sure. And you can go on to the website, that's www.deborahbucherdesigns.com. And don't wait too long because classes are filling up. Hi, Rita. Rita has taught me several business classes, and I'm also in her DIY. Did I say that right? Because I I don't know what you call it when it's just initials or things, but my brain usually scrambles those up. Anyway, Rita has been a huge benefit to me in my Dixie Belle career, and especially in regards to business. And the DIY group is a group that we learn how to use our Cricut machines and to make the stencils, the reusable stencils and the sticky stencils, and then she helps come up with fun new projects and ideas, and she's just full of information, and she's always very helpful and shares all of her ideas. Picked and Polished. Picked and Polished is, I was trying to think of what the name of her website is. So you could go check her out on her page. She's got lots of fun things and classes. Thanks for tuning in, Rita. It only took me, I think this is the 4th attempt, because for some reason my iPod on my light, even though it showed that I was in landscape, it was broadcasting in portrait. So I switched to my little tripod, and that seems to be working. I don't know why the tripod would make a difference, but apparently it did, because the last video I did last week was in sideways. So I'm almost finished here, people. Hang with me. The fun part's coming. As my friend Rita has taught me well, you don't want to put too much paint on. Less is better, especially if you've got this much detail in your wood. One more. Okay. Close this paint up. Okay, so here comes the unveiling, everybody. Cross your fingers. Yep, there's lots of bleeding. I was afraid of that with this wood, but I think it'll still be okay. I need to go get my picker. Hang on one sec. We'll see what it looks like when I get the whole thing off. So if you were doing this, I'm not sure stenciling on a barn board with this much roughness to it would be the best choice. Maybe it'll end up just giving it a little more rustic look to it. I still have to pick out these little center pieces of the letters. I don't know, I kind of like it with it bleeding over. How does it look from your end? One more. Okay. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. You know, even though it did bleed over into some of that detail, I'm not sure I don't mind it. It actually does kind of add to that old rustic look. I'm going to turn down my light for a minute so I can see what your comments are. Okay, tell me what you think. So, I want to show you some of these transfers that I have. First of all, this transfer I'm in love with. This one is called Floral Collection, and there are some really pretty flowers. It has 3 sheets on it, and so I opened up all 3 sheets and I pulled off some of the floral from this one. So I'll show you what floral I'm going to use. I'm going to use this one here, and this one over here. And I think I might use this one as well. And then from Parisian Butterflies, which this one has 4 sheets in it. It has a whole sheet of the butterflies. It has a whole sheet of just different words and addresses and names and stuff that are all in French, but they're the graphics are very cool. It has a whole page of the French script, which is always really popular, and you can use it in lots of different ways. And I've also used the Dickens out of the page with the birds and the branches. I put it on so many pieces, and I can't tell you how many pieces I've used this transfer on, and I still have lots of it left. That's a really fun thing about the transfers. And so with the bird, it has all of those branches. I'm going to take the branch and put it along the bottom here, and I'm going to put this pretty little bird sitting right on the branch. And then I have a beautiful butterfly for up here, and another beautiful butterfly for up here. So I'm going to turn this back around. Let me show you another transfer that I think would lend itself really well to this also. It's the new Poppy Gardens transfer, and this one also has 3 sheets of poppies, and I think that would be really pretty on something like this. And another one that I thought about using, because this is one of my very favorite, is Lovely Ledger. and it has beautiful flowers on it. It's all black and white. It has a beautiful bumblebee. But the kind of fun, and it has all kinds of script and letters and stuff. You can cut it all up and use all kinds of different pieces on it. But also, you know, when you have the black and whites like this, then you can go and paint in over the detail on them. So if you just wanted a spot of color here and there, that works out really well too. So I'm going to turn this around. I know it's going to be sideways on you, but it'll make it easier for me, I think. And I'm going to start down here on the bottom. And in your transfers, they all come with these little wooden sticks. And I also have a really nice tool that comes from Prima. And I really like using it. I just forgot to bring it in with me today, and I don't want to run out there and get it. But I just took the paper backing off, and I'm going to just center this. It has an adhesive on the back, so you have a little, you can place it, make sure you've got it in the right place wherever you want it before you start rubbing it down. And again, because this is rough wood, let me see if I have that evenly. That's 3 inches. 3 inches, perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to just press it on there, and then I'm going to take my wooden stick here, and I'm going to rub really, really hard. And I don't know if you can see this. Let me make sure that you guys are in camera. Can you see where I'm rubbing? It's really hard for me to tell. I want to make sure the camera's on it. As you're rubbing along, it gets a bubble underneath it, and then you know that it has adhered itself to your project. And so I'm going to lift up this end of it. I'm having trouble with my fingernails these days. I cut them all off and filed them last night, and now I don't have any. That's adhering really nice, and it looks really pretty on this wood. Don't know if you can tell that. This is easy to do, and it makes your finished pieces look so impressive. Okay, so it's all rubbed on there. Nice. Burnish it a little bit with my finger. Try not to get any splinters. And then I'm going to take this cute little bird and set him on there. Pull the backing off. And what I want to do is I want to put his little feet right on the branch. I don't want him like sitting up in the air. Put his little claws just kind of overhanging a little bit, like a bird really would be sitting on a branch. Perfect. So this really is the fun part, you guys. I love using the transfers. I have a lot of them loaded on my website. I still have a lot that I haven't gotten loaded. But if you're looking for one in particular, let me know. If I don't have it, I can get it for you. I am a retailer for ReDesign by Prima. They just came out with a whole bunch of new designs in the last couple of weeks. hard to get a hold of this on this barnwood. Rita, you use barnwood all the time. Let me use this paper to see if I can get under there. Yep, there. That worked. So you just keep rubbing on it till you see that you can tell it gets a bubble, and you can tell that it's been adhered to the board. If by chance you pull up on it and you see it's still stuck to the plastic, just lay it back down again and rub. It doesn't ruin anything. You just rub, 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 and keep lifting up that plastic. And when I'm all done, I'll take a burnishing cloth and go burnish it all off. Can you guys see that? Can you see how cute that little bird is? Let me turn that around. That is super cute. Okay, so I think the next one I'll do is this really pretty purple flower, because purple is my color. So I'm going to pull the backing off and position the flower. You need it down low enough so that these flowers fit in this space that I left open here when I made the stencil. Do I want it up a little bit? I think that's good right there. So now I'm going to just stick it down. It has a light adhesive on the back of it. It's not a real sticky adhesive, but if you're doing a big sheet of these all at one time, you need to be really careful with that adhesive, because once it sticks down, it's down. And if you try to pull it up to reposition it, it's going to stick to your piece. So this is kind of a nice project to start. If you haven't done the transfers before, this is a really nice project to start using transfers on. Gives you a little bit of a chance to learn with it. And also, these transfers work beautiful on canvas. So if you go to the art store and just buy blank canvas, you can paint your background with your paint colors and then put your transfers on top. I've seen people doing really beautiful pieces like that. You can also just go to the Goodwill store, and lots of times they'll have canvases there that are already painted on, but all you have to do is repaint over the top of them. You know, put a new base coat on it, use that used canvas. It's cheaper than buying canvas at the craft store. And you could do the same thing with, you know, pictures in picture frames. Just paint over the picture that's already in a frame. You find a pretty frame, but you don't care for the picture in it, just paint over it and then put your transfer on. There are some really, really gorgeous transfers, and you don't have to be limited to just using them on furniture. There are so many versatile ways that you can use them. If you've had a really creative way of using your transfers, why don't you share it with all of us? I'm really happy that this is adhering so nicely to this texture on this barnwood. I wasn't sure how it would do, because I've never done it on this kind of texture before, but it's doing really, really well. And I will take a soft cloth and go back and burnish it all down really well when I'm finished. Now, this is a good example. I don't know if the camera is in a spot where you can see it, but pulling this up, the flower was down, but I don't have all of this leaf, and you can see that it's still on the back side of this. So that's a good example, and just rub it really good, and I know it's down because I can see the bubble on it. If this is the first time that you're seeing a transfer put down, if you look around on the DixieBelle.com site or on the ReDesign by Prima site, you'll see lots of examples of how people have used these transfers on furniture. Some of them are just breathtaking. You can put these on fabrics. You can use them you know, on a pillow, you know, if you want to make a pillow for your sofa. You can do the same thing with the stencil that we just put on here. You can adhere that down on your fabric, and using the exact same principle, using it, starting off with a dry brush, don't add any water to it, and put 1 to 2 coats of paint on your stencil on your fabric. And you can make beautiful pillows for your living room and family room, and gifts for the holidays and birthdays and wedding presents. And if you are looking to, if you've tuned in and you've never used Dixie Belle products before, I am a Dixie Belle premier retailer. And what that means is that I stock all of the full line of Dixie Belle. And I have a shop at 28th Drive in Phoenix. It's in a booth. It's booth number 19. It's Deborah Bucher Designs. And I carry the full line there. And then I just recently moved out of my Surprise location, so I am still looking for another location. But you can order, if you're in the Surprise area, you can call me, text me, order online. If you don't want it shipped to you, just indicate that you want to pick it up, and then we'll make arrangements for you to get it picked up. And my website is www.Deborah, D-E-B-O-R-A-H, Bucher, B-U-C-H-E-R, designs.com. It's a really pretty website, you guys. Go on and let me know what you think. We're almost done with this piece. If any of you are doing farmers markets, this would be a really good place for your farmers market or an online auction. I haven't gotten into the online auctions yet, but it's on my list of things to do. That looks awesome. What do you guys think? I'm loving it. I'm going to leave that butterfly, and I'm going to do this piece for sure, and possibly this piece. I need to trim it up a little more so I can decide. I'm going to put this piece down first and decide if I want the other piece. I love this tall, and the board is pretty long. This is a 16, whoops, I threw the wrong piece down. This is a 16 by 20 inch board. I think I will use that one. Okay, so just lay it on there. These look like they were painted on there. And the transfer, what that actually means, why they call it a transfer, is you are transferring the design, but it's also paint being transferred onto paint. So when you peel it off, you really do, it really looks like it's been hand painted on here. You can see how easy that is. Does anybody have any questions? Hi, Monica. There we go. I love that. So delicate looking. And I'm going to put this one really close, and I'm going to let it cross over on the other one, because that's how flowers really grow in the wild anyway. So there it goes. We're almost finished with this. If you guys have enjoyed watching this with me, if you would read my little sign, because Facebook doesn't like us sharing this information live, so if you would read this and follow through, that would be really appreciated. I like to be able to do these videos for you often. You know, I could set up a class for this, and I may go ahead and do that, but I also just thought, you know, it's nice just to be able to go on live and share with you quick projects that you guys can do in a short afternoon. I think I've been on, since it took me several attempts, I think I've been on for about 45 minutes. And the longest part of that was actually just painting that stencil. And the more I look at it now, I'm not minding the bleed through on it on this barnwood at all. In fact, I think it actually adds to the look of it. I'd be interested in knowing how you guys feel about it. Share your thoughts and your opinions. I can take it. That's what we all learn and grow from. Oh, love it, love it, love it. Okay, we're almost done, folks. Thanks for hanging in there with me. Okay, so we've got this pretty butterfly. I'm going to trim it up a little more so I can place it exactly where I want it. Okay, so I'm thinking right about there, and then this one over here. I think that's good. I wish I could see your questions. I'm going to have to get some advice from Miss Rita on how to improve this, because having my camera face down so you can see what I'm doing doesn't let me actually read questions. Last week I tried to use my iPad to read the questions, and that didn't work for me. So obviously I need a few quick tutorials on how to do a better video. When you watch all these brand ambassadors doing it all the time, they make it look like it's super easy. And it's easier if you've got somebody handling the camera for you and reading the questions, and that makes it easier too. But I'm a one-man show, and I just have my puppy dog Bogey, and he's good company, but he's not a good reader. Okay, one more to go, people. We're almost done. There are just some things that you make that you're like, ho-hum, and then there are some things that you just love. And frankly, this is one of those things I just love. And I really love how springy it is. I know that I'm in Arizona, and we've had an unusually cold and fairly wet winter for Arizona, and a lot of overcast days. And when I got up this morning, the sun was shining. It was supposed to get up to a high of 73, which it probably did because my back door is open and it's comfortable in here. And it was like, yes, we're finally turning the corner, and our spring starts in February. That's when the flowers start to bloom. So working on a sign like this is just perfect. And if you don't have that weather coming for a couple more months, then this will just make you feel like it's coming. Put a little springtime in your heart. One of the projects I did over Christmas, and I don't know if any of you saw the picture of it, but I took a really, really pretty old silver tray that you see in all the Goodwill and thrift stores for a couple of bucks. and I base coated it in buttercream and then put a really beautiful red cardinal Christmas transfer on that piece. Oh my gosh, that was one of my favorite pieces. Loved, loved, loved it. I'm going to take a soft cloth and just burnish down everywhere that I put that transfer on. And it looks like it was just painted on here. If you guys like this project, give me lots of hearts. Be sure that you give me hearts and do this. Last week, I had a drawing for everyone who followed through on that, and the lucky winner was Jules Downing. So she gets to pick out a jar of Dixie Belle paint. And I'll do that one again soon. This is sure pretty, you guys. And we did it in less than an hour. So what do you think? I'll turn down this light. And I'll look at your questions. Monica, you asked what the transfer was called. I actually used a couple of different transfers. The flowers on here were from Floral Collection. I don't know if that's backwards for you, and I will put it in the comments, but it's Floral Collection. It has 3 different sheets of transfers on it. So I just picked out the flowers that I wanted to put on here. And I also used Parisian butterflies. I've used Parisian butterflies for, let me turn down that light, it's awfully bright. Let's see, Parisian butterflies. And it has 4 sheets on it. And I've used this same transfer for over 4 years. It has lots of butterflies, the birds. It has all the branches down here that you can cut off and use, and that's what I used, was a nice long branch. It has the Parisian, I don't know what you call this, but it's like different signs, words, street names in Paris, and then it has a whole page of script, which is always really nice to have too. So you can cut these up into all different designs and use them on multiple pieces of furniture. That's the 2 that I used on here, and then I made a adhesive stencil for the verse, and all of this is available for you on my website, so I'll put my website in the comments. And if you have any other questions, let me know. Thank you all for hanging in there and watching with me. Thank you, Beth. I really appreciate you following with me. I've made a commitment to myself to come on live once a week. I promise I'll get better at this. It takes a little practice, but I think this was a really fun project, and we completed it within an hour, even with me stopping and starting. So again, thanks so much for watching. Go check me out on my website, and you guys have a great afternoon.